Wisdom is alive and therefore always unpredictable. Order is another face of chaos. Chaos is another face of order. The uncertainty you feel inside is the doorway to wisdom. Insecurity will always be with the quester. He continues to stumble, but never falls. Human order is made of rules. The wizard's order has no rules. It flows with the nature of life. The nature of life is to contain both chaos and order. Patterns emerge from disorder and melt back into it. Your body is totally chaotic at certain levels. Swirling atoms of oxygen enter your bloodstream with every breath. Teeming enzymes and proteins fill each cell. Even the firing of neurons in your brain is an electrical storm that never ceases. Yet this chaos is just one face of order. For there is no doubt that our cells are masterpieces of organized function, that your brain activity results in coherent thoughts. Indeed, chaos and order exist so closely, one to the other, that they cannot really be separated. You must first be chaos before you can be a dancing star, said Merlin. And that is literally true, for the swirling primordial gases that formed the early universe had to precede the birth of galaxies. Early on, these gases exhibited no pattern at all, just the faintest tendency to be attracted to one another. Yet, out of the faint hint of gravitational pull, a chain of events was set in motion that eventually led to the inception of human DNA, a molecule so complex that to disturb any one of its 3 billion genetic units could make the difference between life and death. On a personal scale, everyone struggles with order and disorder. Things have a tendency to fall apart. What was fresh and ripe eventually decays. What was young grows old and dies. Death is an illusion, Merlin said. Sit for a moment and imagine that you can view your life as a video in your mind. Start the video with the events of today and let them roll forward the way you wish tomorrow will turn out. Then the next day, and the next. Imagine yourself growing older. See the future you would want if you could have anything you desired. Let your fantasy roam where it will. And end up with your own death. Make it a desirable death, painless and peaceful. Once you've done this, go back and see an entirely different video. Begin with the events of today, only have them turn out differently. This is only imagination at work, so you can give yourself a wild, catastrophic life, or a dramatic one, or a saintly one. Take the video up to your death scene. Now go back and start over again. The point of the exercise is that all of what you have visualized is true. Your future consists of not one scenario, but all possible ones. They branch out from the present moment like invisible threads of potential. Everyone's life is like this, only our false sense of control makes us believe that we can impose order on what in fact is totally unpredictable. The ego must examine its fears and stop trying to control. That is one huge part of the quest you are on. If you can accept the flow of life and give in to it, you will be accepting what is real. Only when you accept what is real can you live with it in peace and happiness. The alternative is a struggle that will never end because it is a struggle with the unreal, with a mirage of life instead of life itself. The reality you experience is a mirror image of your expectations. If you project the same images every day, your reality will be the same every day. When attention is perfect, it creates order and clarity out of chaos and confusion. He insisted that my version of reality, the tree, the stream, the woods, was completely illusion, a private hallucination my mind forced on me, while his world was open to everyone, since it is entirely a world of light. Even in the light of day, Arthur said, we walk around according to what we expect to see, hear, and touch. Every experience is based on continuity, which we nurture by remembering everything as it was the day before, the hour before, or the second before. Merlin told me that if I could see entirely without expectations, nothing I took for granted would be real. The world the wizard sees is the real world, after the light comes on. Ours is a shadow world we grope through in the dark. The wizard has completely freed himself from the known. To him, the only freedom lies in the unknown, because whatever is known is past and dead. Do you know why I keep saying that your world is a prison? Merlin asked. Because whatever the mind can conceive of must be bounded. As soon as you put words around an experience or enclose it in a thought or say, I know, something wonderful and invisible has flown away. Boundaries are cages. Reality is a delicate bird trembling in your hand. Hold it too long, and it will die. If it is true that the unknown is your ticket to freedom, it is also true that the ego is more comfortable with boundaries. Our minds generate the same images day after day. These images are a mirror of who you are, yet the ego takes them to be real. Isn't it obvious that a tree is a tree, a wall, a mountain? The ego asks. But these are only real in one state of consciousness, the waking state. In a dream, you might sit in a field and watch the clouds pass over a mountain. After waking up, you realize that the mountain, the clouds, and the field were just random firings of brain cells giving rise to fleeting images. There is no proof that being awake is any different. Real mountains and fields and clouds have no testable reality outside the images that fire in your brain. Living with the lesson. Living with this lesson means going beyond the frontier of the known. If you could forget everything and anticipate nothing, you would automatically find yourself piercing the boundaries that shield you from the perception of a higher reality. That higher reality is enmeshed in the familiar one you see and move through every day. There is no distance separating the two, yet they might as well be millions of miles apart. You can get a taste of the unknown with another simple experiment. Blindfold yourself and sit down in your kitchen. Now, ask a friend to put 3 foods in front of you without telling you what they are. Taste them by having your friend put a spoonful or morsel in your mouth. You will quickly recognize what each food is. But you should also notice that in this split second of uncertainty before recognition dawns, you will taste something new, an unexpected texture, a nuance of flavor, a faint aroma that you had forgotten was there. This is the power of uncertainty. As long as you are certain about things, you are living within boundaries. Yet things you think you are so certain of actually have new qualities to unfold. God made this world, Merlin said, so it must be interesting enough to keep his attention. If you find things growing tired or stale or predictable, perhaps it is you who have lost the capacity to be interested. Opening the way to uncertainty is hard for the ego to accept, yet it is the only avenue into the wizard's world.